Hello again. So, nostalgia is basically defined as a happy association with memories of the past. Uh, Typically personal memories of the past. Your own memories of the past. So you have nostalgia for things you enjoyed as a kid or as a younger person. Can you have nostalgia for something you didn't enjoy as a kid? For instance, I never read Todd McFarlane Spider-Man as a kid. When I came into reading Spider-Man, um, Eric Larson was the artist. I never read Batman as a kid. Uh, Never read this specific Batman, this Norman Brayfogle, Alan Grant, John Wagner Batman as a kid. I think Chuck Dixon was the writer when I came into it, and no, Doug Moench, or however you say his name, and Kelly Jones were the writer-artist team when I came into it. But I really like these. These are really good. These epic collections. This is basically Assassination Nation. It's mostly Todd McFarlane art. There's a few little things in here. There's some Liefeld. David Michelini, or however you say that name, is the writer. But it's just action-packed. It's just good. It's got all the classic characters you want to see. Done really well. It's just really exciting. It's really good. It's awesome. Maybe it's the time period and the type of comic that I have the nostalgia for, but man, it's solid. Here's the Liefeld, but it's really good. I never read it as a youngster, and I'm reading it now, and it's thoroughly enjoyable. Batman. I never read this era of Batman as a kid, but it's really good. I really like this art. The storytelling's good. It's Batman. He's just Batman all the time. Like, he's hardly ever Bruce Wayne in this. There's no Robin. I'm not sure if this is right after Robin died or right before Robin died. I'd have to look that up. I can't really remember, but it's just great art. It's characters like bad guys, like the Rat Catcher. Why not? One of the great things about it, the Corrosive Man. One of the great things about it is, look at that. It's awesome. Look at that face. It's just amazing. One of the great things about it is almost all the stories in this are 2 or 3 parters. There's a few single issue parts, but they're almost all 2 or 3 part stories. It's not paced for a trade. It's not slow. It's it's pretty quick. You get the end of a story fairly fast. It goes along at just a nice clip. There's action on almost every page. Look at this. This is just action, action, action. Next book. Great cover, by the way. Great cover. A little bit of talking. Look at that talking, the dialogue. It's like little bits of dialogue, It's not these huge, word balloons. Like, this is, some explanation, but it's not this on every single page. Going on and on and on. Batman is just, I gotta find guys. I gotta rescue people. The That's all there is to it. I mean, just look. It's just constantly like doing something. Stuff is always happening. Great angles, great shots. Stuff's tilted. It's not just I'm gonna stand around and talk. Look at the colors on this. This is actually very good coloring. DC, I was always not a big fan of their coloring. Um, there's always stuff happening. It's great. Same thing with the McFarlane stuff. It's like 1 or 2 issue storylines. Most of them are single issues. Every issue is a different villain. It's great. So you get like his whole Rhodes gallery after just a few issues. You get like, that's the other thing, is you learn who all these characters are very quickly, just very fast. You get introduced to new characters, old villains, new villains, very quickly. I think the Venom storyline is 2 parts, maybe 3. No, it's 2. The Scorpion storyline is 2 parts as well. It goes along. Now there is a 5-parter in the back, or maybe a 6-parter in the back. But it was also through the summer, so it was like every 2 weeks. So it actually got over very quickly. It wasn't half your year; it was just a few months. And then there's this other stuff. I've had these. I always skipped over Ghost Rider. I was not a fan of Wolverine. He was not as popular a character. He was becoming very popular when I was younger, but he was still not the popular character he is now. This is probably like peak. This is 90s. All this stuff, by the way, is from the late 80s to early 90s. Peak. Look at that. Great art. This is John Romita Jr. back when he actually could draw regularly very well. I really liked this style at the time. Look at that. Now here's your 90s craziness of doing like an expensive, fancy, cover. But it looks awesome. Look at Punisher. Punisher looks awesome. Everybody looks great. But this is probably peak Ghost Rider popularity. Punisher was really big then. And I would say probably Wolverine might have been the 3rd most popular character at that point in time. I kind of skipped on all 3 of these guys. I was kind of a contrarian and just like the badass cool dudes I just didn't care about. I liked Captain America and Spider-Man and Daredevil, the Fantastic Four. I did like Wolverine in the X-Men, but I liked him like as a side character, But I was flipping through this going, man, this is cheesy. This is like goofy, cheesy stuff. Like Zach says, it's cool and it's kind of like cheesy, funny, goofy at the same time. Like that looks really cool and goofy simultaneously. And I'm kind of rolling my eyes going, oh, geez, this is like, look at all this over the top nonsense. Man, this is goofy. And then I'm like, well, but it looks really good. Oh man, like, okay, it's the Punisher and he's in disguise. He's got this little silly mustache, but he kind of looks cool. He looks like a freaking, look at this dude. He looks like a guy, like a badass, and you go through and then you got Wolverine and it's really good. This is just a one-shot story. And man, I'm looking at this. I'm going to read it. I can't remember ever reading this. It looks kind of goofy, but man, look at this art. It just, I'm blown away by it. Like I said, that looks mostly awesome, but a little silly, but mostly awesome. And then you have, other stuff like, your X-Men #1. This was a big 4 cover thing. But with your Jim Lee art that just looks great. I mean, it's got this great like Rogues Gallery poster that's got a stupid ad in the middle. But your big poster of your Rogues Gallery, your Villains Gallery, it just looks great. I mean, the colors are amazing. Everything just pops. This is like an old comic, and everything pops. I mean, look at that. Everything jumps out at you. It's so crisp and just dynamic. Um, Look at Magneto. I mean, look at that face, man. That's amazing. This is why, I mean, these comics sold so well back then. They just looked great. Everybody, you can see everybody on this page. It's not a giant mush of colors. It's great. Look at that. Wolverine, Psylocke, and Gambit. Awesome. Great action, great everything in that. Liefeld was somebody. Now I really liked Jim Lee. Jim Lee was he was the artist on X-Men when I started reading X-Men. I loved Jim Lee. I didn't follow any of these guys to Image. I could never find Image books where I bought comics, and I just to be a contrarian, I also just was like, I don't care. I like Marvel stuff. I'm sticking with Marvel stuff. I'm not gonna read Image. You know, it's just very much. I liked these characters. X-Force, same thing. I mean, just Liefeld, love him or hate him. His stuff sold like crazy. His stuff, everything jumps out. Everything looks dynamic. Everything looks great. There's this bit where they're fighting in the dark and they do this thing where they just kind of show the faces, just the mouths and the eyes. It looks amazing. Yeah, it's just awesome. You know, there's a letter in the back where this guy writes a letter to the editor, to Cablegrams, just basically say how awesome Rob Liefeld is, followed by another letter about how awesome Rob Liefeld is. People loved Rob Liefeld. I mean, obviously they're printing the letters that love Rob Liefeld and not hate him, but look at this cover, man. Look how awesome he looks. Gosh, it's great. Why wouldn't you want to pick this off the stands? X-Force I never read as a kid, by the way. I could never find it. It was never around. So X-Men was around. That wasn't. Oh. Punisher. Again, this is another one. Going with more of this 90s like cheeseball stuff. This cover, you know, with this cutout cover. So you can see that. I'm not really sure if that was necessary. But again, this is John Romita Jr. again doing the Punisher. And it's just, you know, it looks good. Punisher looks the way the Punisher ought to look. Like a GD badass. Doing GD badass stuff. Look at that. This whole bit about the... they stole this for the movie. This whole bit about the acetylene torch and the popsicle. That's straight out of this comic. They stole... If you saw the movie... with... I can't think of his name. Anyway, the one with John Travolta in it as the bad guy. They lifted that straight out of here. I was going to say, the other thing about this, just that I noticed I thought was really cool. This logo is really cool. It's the Punisher logo with the three little things with their Wolverine claws. And the Ghost Rider flame. It's like a cool logo. And then you have things that don't quite work. That are also, I have no nostalgia for this. And I read them. This stuff I haven't read either. This I haven't read. This I haven't read. And this I haven't read. This I read and remember loving, and I'll read again and see if I still love it. This stuff, never read. Love it. And here's where you go, okay, well, I read all that stuff, and that stuff was all great. This is from the same time period. It should be good, too. I really like Marvel. DC I could never get into, except for a few exceptions, Batman and a few other exceptions. Marvel's the way to go. You have your nice silver olive foil cover, which I do like this cover. It's Michael Golden. I think it's really awesome. And it makes me want to actually go like, I really, really wanted to like this. I was like, okay, this is going to be cool. If you order any books off of eBay in like a big assortment, you're probably going to get some continuity comics. So I read this. It's not terrible, but it's not good either. It's just kind of like, It was better than those Marvel books I bought at the grocery store, but pretty lame. And then this also has your nice 90s weird thing. And same thing. I read it too, and it's not bad. It's just not good. It's just kind of blah. So no love for this, even though it's from the same time period. It was, but again, man, awesome cover. Look at this guy. He looks awesome. She looks crazy. Everybody looks pretty amazing. Again, Michael Golden. But yeah. So I don't know. Can you have nostalgia for stuff you've never read? Can you have nostalgia for stuff? Does it have to be for things that you definitely read? I don't know. Give me your opinion in the comments below. Talk to you later.